Chapter 1: The Stages of Life. To discuss the problems connected with the stages of human development is an exacting task, for it means nothing less than unfolding a picture of psychic life in its entirety from the cradle to the grave. Within the framework of a lecture, such a task can be carried out only on the broadest lines. And it must be well understood that no attempt will be made to describe the normal psychic occurrences within the various stages. We shall restrict ourselves, rather, to certain problems, that is, to things that are difficult, questionable, or ambiguous, in a word, to questions which allow of more than one answer, and moreover, answers that are always open to doubt. For this reason, there will be much to which we can add a question mark in our thoughts, whereas still there will be some things we must accept in faith, while now and then we must even indulge in speculations. If psychic life consisted only of self-evident matters of fact, which on a primitive level is still the case, we can content ourselves with a sturdy empiricism. The psychic life of civilized man, however, is full of problems. We cannot even think of it except in terms of problems. Our psychic processes are made up to a large extent of reflections, doubts, experiments, all of which are almost completely foreign to the unconscious, instinctive mind of primitive man. It is the growth of consciousness which we must thank for the existence of problems. They are the dawn and gift of civilization. It is just man's turning away from instinct, his opposing himself to instinct, that creates consciousness. Instinct is nature and seeks to perpetuate nature, whereas consciousness can only seek culture or its denial. Even when we turn back to nature, inspired by a Rousseau-esque longing, we cultivate nature. As long as we are still submerged in nature, we are unconscious, and we live in the security of instinct which knows no problems. Everything in us still belongs to nature, shrinks away from a problem. For its name is doubt, and wherever doubt holds sway, there is uncertainty and the possibility of divergent ways. And where several ways seem possible, there we have turned away from the certain guidance of instinct and are handed over to fear. For consciousness is now called upon to do which nature has always done for her children, namely to give a certain unquestionable and unequivocal decision. And here we are beset by an all too human fear that consciousness, our Promethean conquest, may in the end not be able to serve us as well as nature. Problems thus draw us into an orphaned and isolated state, where we are abandoned by nature and are driven to consciousness. There is no other way open to us. We are forced to resort to conscious decisions and solutions, where formerly we trusted ourselves to natural happenings. Every problem, therefore, brings the possibility of a widening of consciousness, but also the necessity of saying goodbye to childlike unconsciousness and trust in nature. This necessity is a psychic fact of such importance that it constitutes one of the most essential symbolic teachings of the Christian religion. It is the sacrifice of the merely natural man, of the unconscious, ingenious being whose tragic career began with the eating of the apple in paradise. The biblical fall of man presents the dawn of consciousness as a curse. And as a matter of fact, it is in this light that we first look upon every problem that forces us to greater consciousness and separates us even further from the paradise of unconscious childhood. Every one of us gladly turns away from his problems. If possible, they must not be mentioned, or better still, their existence is denied. We wish to make our lives simple, certain, and smooth, and for that reason problems are taboo. You want to have certainties and no doubts, results in no experiments, without even seeing that certainties can only arise through doubt, and results only through experiment. The artful denial of a problem will not produce conviction. On the contrary, a wider and higher consciousness is required to give us the certainty and clarity we need. This introduction, long as it is, seemed to me necessary in order to make clear the nature of our subject. When we must deal with problems, we instinctively resist trying the way that leads through obscurity and darkness. We wish to hear only of unequivocal results and completely forget that these results can only be brought about when we have ventured into and emerged again from the darkness. But to penetrate the darkness, we must summon all the powers of enlightenment and consciousness can offer. As I've already said, we must even indulge in speculations. For in treating the problems of psychic life, we perpetually stumble upon questions of principal belongings to the private domains of the most heterogeneous branches of knowledge. We disturb and anger the theologian no less than the philosopher, the physician no less than the educator. We even grope about in the field of the biologist and of the historian. This extravagant behavior is due not to arrogance, but to the circumstances that man's psyche is a unique combination of factors which are at the same time the special subject of far-reaching lines of research. For it is out of himself and out of his peculiar constitution that man has produced his sciences. They are symptoms of his psyche.